Hi, it's Michelle, and I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and emotional eating expert. And I just want to say welcome to this video. It's going to be how creating the foundation of true nourishment is really going to help you with your moods and moving you through emotional eating. So I'm going to share a bit more how that happens. So essentially, what I find is missing with a lot of things that deal with emotional eating is really the true nourishment part, and really nourishing the body and making sure that you're getting in all those nutrients to build your body so that it's strong physically. Because usually when we're dealing with emotional eating, a lot of the times it's just looking at the emotions. But one key factor is our physical body and our nervous system. And we need to really truly nourish our bodies and to really have proper digestion and absorption of nutrients in order to create a body that's able to process those emotions. Our emotions are so linked to our body. Every sort of emotion we have, which is sort of a biochemical response in the body. So there are actual molecules that are produced in response to our emotions. We need to be able to process them through our body, and we need to be able to make them as well. And so when we're processing, that takes up certain nutrients, and it impacts our nervous system. So the stronger we can make our nervous system physically, we can hold and process through those emotions as well. So nourishing our body with amazing nutrient-dense foods, sometimes adding in supplements, and the care of our body really impacts the way we can process our emotions. And if you've been emotionally eating for a long amount of time, you might actually not have a nourished body, because when you have an emotional eating binge, or if you're kind of chronically using food to deal with your emotions, then you're not necessarily getting the best foods into your system or digesting them well. Usually I find, and what I found for myself when I was emotionally eating, was that I was gravitating towards processed foods that would make me kind of feel good in the moment and give me that high. And usually those are foods that are processed. They have a lot of sugar. They might have more cheese or more wheat. These kinds of foods heighten our moods and interact with our brain in this way. So in order to really move away from the emotional eating, we need to process the emotions underneath, but we also need to be nourishing our body. And so the better our body is at being nourished and us learning about true nourishment, the better able we are to process those emotions. And like I said, we probably go towards foods that are not the best for us, and that depletes our system and our body, which makes us even more prone to not being able to handle stress and emotional things that happen in our life. So the way food impacts our mood is very interesting. So whatever we eat and we take in, hopefully we are digesting it well, which means breaking down the food, and we are absorbing the nutrients. If we're eating, usually I'm going to just put this kind of bubble of whole foods, good quality organic foods into our body and digesting it well, we have all these amazing building blocks to make our body, to create our cells, to really create our nervous system and all of this. And some include having magnesium and omega-3s and B vitamins, vitamin D3. All of these things are super important to building up our body. Those are just a few. There's so many more. And when we're able to do that, we're really nourishing our body. We're getting in all of these nutrients to build a strong foundation. What happens is when we have those more processed foods, and usually foods containing, gluten and dairy and sugars, they're more processed foods. They create more inflammation in our body, but they also wreak havoc on our digestion. So when they create that inflammation, it's more in the digestive tract, and that inflammation really impacts our moods, because when we have good digestion, we're feeding our gut bacteria, and our gut is known as our second brain, and it produces neurotransmitters. It's directly connected to the brain via the vagus nerve. But when we eat foods that are more inflammatory or nutrient depleting or not health giving, and they create inflammation in our gut. They impact our bacteria in our gut, our microbiome, and that will directly impact our brain and our moods, because neurotransmitters and other essentials that are needed by the brain are not going to be produced. There's going to be more inflammatory compounds produced because of that inflammation, and other things like other bacteria breaking down the food and creating sort of toxic byproducts. That's going to impact our brain and our mood. And so food really does play this physical part in our body. So that's one key area. And so when we have proper digestion and we're eating those whole foods, it fuels the brain because we're producing those neurotransmitters and other compounds needed by the brain. Also, physically, our body is going to be nourished. The brain is going to have the vitamins and minerals and nutrients it needs to function optimally. And our nervous system as well. So we're going to have better emotional responses. This is just, again, one factor that will help us just to have sort of take the edge off of that emotional eating. Because part of it, I believe, is physical, especially after years of sort of being in this emotional eating and not eating the best. Our body is going to be depleted. So we need to physically build it up. The other factors that are quite important are obviously looking at the emotions under the emotional eating and the thoughts that we think, but they come after, because we need to have this starting base and we start creating this foundation, and then we can move into really looking at the emotional processing and underlying factors. What I found is a lot of the times it's assumed that we know what's healthy and what's good for us, but a lot of my clients need to really understand why these foods are health giving, because in our society, it is sort of skewed what is really nourishing to you, and someone's edge of thinking they're eating okay might not be quite where they need to be, especially to heal and to recover. So it's important to have a second set of eyes on that to really teach you and to give you that structure. We're not really taught that structure in our society of, here are the foods, these are the ways they're good for you, why is this important, what nutrients are needed. And then within that structure, as you learn it, you create your own flow, your own intuition, that you can take that information and make it your own, and take that structure and make it your own, which is what I did personally. I took a lot of different philosophies and I tried a lot of things in my body, and I looked for what felt good and what made me feel my best. And so I encourage that with clients, but I give them guidance, because we all need guidance. We do know things, but it's nice to have that guidance, and it fast tracks our progress as well. So I hope this video has been helpful and informative. I just wanted to outline how food really does impact our mood. It's one of the factors impacting our mood, which impacts our emotions, which then will indirectly impact our emotional eating as well. It's not the be-all end-all, but it is one component. So really nourishing our bodies is such a foundational pillar to moving through emotional eating. So I hope this video has been helpful. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I look forward to sharing more with you. Have a great day.